So you can invest $250 every month. If you're returning that at about 8%, you can be up to $80,000 plus, depending on what you invested. Welcome to Cooking Finance, where we teach finance from my kitchen. This is a channel where we'll talk everything finance and help people to recover their wealth. A lot of people have asked me, how do I even start on this investment journey? How do I invest if I earn $50,000 per annum, $40,000 per annum? What do I need to start to do? How do I go about it? What are the steps that will help me on this journey? So today we're just going to be talking about the journey to investing. What are the steps that you need to go through? What are the things that you need to do initially before you start to invest? Join me on this journey as we go on today's teaching. And the first thing you need to do before you invest is to know your current state. What is my current net worth? What is your current net worth? That's the beginning of your journey. You need to know your current state. A lot of people don't even know their current state in terms of what am I worth today? What are my assets? What are my liabilities? And what's my net worth? So that's your first step, is to be able to determine your current state, outline all your assets, outline all your liabilities. The difference between your asset and your liability is what we call your net worth. Some other people can go ahead and even deduct their personal residence to be able to know what is their investable net worth. And when you have that number, the next thing is to now set a timeline. What's my investment timeline? For example, if I'm 40 years old and I want to retire at age 60, that means I have a 20-year investment window to look at. If I'm 45 and I want to retire at 65 or 60, I have a 15-year window. So to set that time, you set that time and then set a goal. What is my ultimate goal when I retire, for example? At age 60, I want to have $2 million. I want to have $1 million. And you can actually find that out. There are steps in which you can take to be able to determine what is the value of my nest egg when I retire. And one way to look at it is to look at all your potential fixed cost in retirement. For example, your rent, your utilities, your groceries, the basic needs that you need, and then add on to it your potential daily living. You want to travel, you want to do this. When you get that number accurately, it's an estimate, then you can use what we call the 5% rule. Some people use the 4%, but that's been updated now to a 5% rule. And the 5% rule just means that if I'm withdrawing 5% from my nest egg, I will never run out of money till I die. That's based on the fact that you can invest your money on assets generating you 5% continuously. And so when you withdraw, that money never really depletes. And so when you work that out and you gross that back up, of course, taking into account taxes, depending on where you are, and then you have a certain number. Let's take, for example, somebody who has done his net worth and say, my net worth is $300,000 and I want to retire after doing my expenses and grossing it up with $2 million. That means you have a gap of $1.7 million and he wants to retire at age 60 and is 40 in 20 years. That means he needs to cover $1.7 million in 20 years. So the next step is now to start thinking, what do I need to now invest in that will give me that kind of return that will be able to move from $300 to $2 million in 20 years. And you can work the rate of return that you need in that case. And so to get $2 million in 20 years, starting from 300,000, using a rate of return of 5%, for example, you need to save on a monthly basis or invest $2,000 every month. You can get like 8% return on your investment over that 20 years. That comes down to about $1,060 every month that you then need to invest to be able to meet your goal. So once you have that number, it gives you a picture of what you need to put aside every month. And then you now go to your budget and say, okay, within my budget, can I afford $1,000 every month? Can I afford $2,000 every month? This is where a good monthly budget plays a key role. And then you'll be able to outline or look at all your expenses and say, where within my expenses, what can I cut to free up $1,000, to free up $2,000? And if you can do that successfully, fantastic. Or you look at your income. Can I increase my income? What else can I do to increase my income to be able to save $1,000 or $2,000 every month? Once you're able to do that, then we now go to the real thing, to the next stage of, okay, how do I now invest? What do I invest in? In Canada, what I tell people, the first thing is if you're working in an organization that, for example, matches your RRSP, that's the first area you should explore. So for example, in most organizations, if you contribute, say, 4% of your annual income, the organization will match you with 4%. That's 100% return on your investment. So that's the first place to start with. Make sure you're maximizing that. So for example, if you're earning $40,000 per annum, you're able to put 4%, that's $1,600 in a year. That means the organization also will match that. That's 100% return on your investment. And then that investment can grow. If you buy, for example, index funds or whatever you buy, can grow at the market rate. That's the first step. The second step is, I ask people, do you have children? If you have children in Canada, the Canada government supports investing for the education of our children, and in what is called the RESP. And with the RESP, the government gives you a grant of 20% on whatever you contribute, up to a maximum of $500 in a year and a lifetime maximum of $7,200, which means with $500,000 in a year from government, if you contribute over a 14-year period, you can earn 20% on whatever you put there for your children. And so I tell people, maximize that. That comes to about $208 every month for your child. And the government will add up to it, making $250. So you can invest $250 every month. If you're returning that at about 8%, you can be up to $80,000 plus, depending on what you invest in. $80,000 by the time that child is 18, if you invest over the full 14 years. So that already covers your children's education, which is one of the biggest expense in Canada. So that's the next step. So you do your RRSP, match if your company is matching it. You do your RESP, and the next one is what is called the tax-free savings account. And this is one of the biggest one that people have a wrong concept about. Because it's called the tax-free savings account, people think it's just a savings account. No, it's an investment account. So a lot of people just save in there, but they don't actually invest. So a tax-free savings account just means you are investing after-tax dollars into a tax-free account that can grow tax-free and you can withdraw tax-free. And it has a limit. For 2025, for example, the maximum you can put there is $7,000. And every year they review that. So let's assume it's $7,000 every year. That means your investment can grow every year tax-free, as long as you don't do any crazy, unethical trading within it to trigger some penalties. When you stick with the normal investing, $7,000 every year, you can grow that tax-free, and that's a huge part of your portfolio. So that's the third thing that you must maximize. You maximize your RRSP match, you maximize your RESP to the limit of the government grant, and then you maximize your TFSA. And once you've done all that three, then you can, if you still have enough funds to invest, you can open what I call a non-registered investment account, either through your bank, or if you have the time and the knowledge, you can even open a self-directed investment account where you do the investment yourself. And then the next question is, okay, what do I invest in? I tell people to start with, because a lot of people, they are working, they don't have time for research, they don't have time to really dig into company results, what's a PE ratio and all that. Go and invest in an index fund. That's the safest thing you can invest in right now. That is passive and it can generate a market return. And if you look at the S&P 500, if you look at the NASDAQ 100 over the last 50 years, is average between 10 to 12% average over the last 50 years. So if you put your money in an index fund, a low fee index fund, for example, you have things like the SPY ETF or the QQQ ETF. Those are, the SPY mirrors the S&P 500, the top 500 companies on the New York Stock Exchange, while the NASDAQ 100 mirrors the top 100 tech companies on the NASDAQ. And when you invest in that continuously on what is called a dollar cost average, that means every time, every month, consistently, you're withdrawing a certain amount of money and you're putting it there continuously. And you dollar cost average over time. So it doesn't matter whether the price goes up or the price comes down, you're just buying consistently. And what you will see over a long period of time, you will achieve the market average of the index average. And then the index average, like I said, is average like 10 to 12%. And you can grow your wealth with 12% consistently over the next 20 years. And when you put all these portfolios together, you will see that it's actually easy to achieve your goal. Example, the person who needs $2 million. It's actually not very difficult. You don't have the pressure of whether the market is going up and down because you still have the benefit of time. And that money can compound over time. So this is the steps I believe anyone can take to start on your investment journey. Like I said, start with your RRSP match. If your company matches your RRSP, go to your RESP. If you have children who are going to go to university, maximize your TFSA and then invest in your non-registered account and ensure that you have clarity of what your goal is at the end of the day. Thank you for listening to me today. I believe this has been of great help to somebody. And my challenge for you is start. A lot of people procrastinate and they don't start. Just start on this journey. And when you have the benefit of time, let compounding work in your favor. And as you go on this journey, I believe you're going to recover your wealth and you're going to achieve your goal.